Alright, so I know that I'm a little late to covering this second banner that is dropped for JP's Halloween event, but come on, they dropped like Lost Belt 7 leaks on us out of absolutely nowhere, and you guys cannot expect me to not fawn over those leaks, especially given, you know, some of the potential characters that might be coming. One of them in particular I've been kind of fiending for quite a while, so, you know, I was a little excited and just kind of wanted to talk and discuss with everybody, but over here on the JP version of the game for their Halloween event, we have a return for Jacques de Molay, Sei Shonagun, Murasaki Shikabue, and some other dinguses. I mean, I say that, but no disrespect to my boy Taigong, because I also think he's still very, very broken. It's just, you know, he ain't got the little limited star like the other guys, so it doesn't make him as quote-unquote special. I actually think recently I just pulled him randomly on a banner when I was summoning for something else and got him to NP2 on JP, so that was really funny. But anyway, we're going to talk about that in today's video, just kind of going over some of the servants, whether or not you should be summoning if you're on the JP version of the game, all that good stuff. But before we actually begin, if you have not already, make sure you leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel for daily FGO content. Also, I stream every weekday over on my Twitch. Usually Monday to Thursday is like FGO, and then Friday is playing like some Soulsborne game. It's just I missed yesterday's stream. This should be going up on Tuesday, I believe, and I missed Monday's stream because, well, I basically had cards covering the entirety of my room, which is a really good segue to the next thing. In the description down below, there's a Yu-Gi-Oh channel that I've been kind of doing a little bit of work on, trying to build that up a little bit. So if you want to check that out and see me play around with some cardboard, you know, that's the place for you to go check that out. But anyway, let's go ahead and start diving into some of these servants and start talking about, you know, whether or not they're worth summoning or not for. And I think Jacques de Molay is definitely going to be the prize for a lot of people. The only, I guess, bad thing, I don't really know if that's the right word to use or say that it's bad, but the unfortunate thing for Jacques, maybe that's a bit better, is that we just got Rikyu, and Rikyu is basically the quick version of Summer Ibuki, right? And Summer Ibuki is pretty much like the de facto go-to arts farming lady right now. I mean, she's got like the consistency of Musashi, but also like the 50% battery that, say, Kama and Space Ishtar has, merged into the fact that, you know, she's also a berserker, so she's super effective against everybody, unlike, say, like Space Ishtar or Kama, right? So she gets like the super effective modifier for that, right? So Rikyu's pretty much the exact same thing, you know, quick AoE berserker, you know, good damage, all that good stuff, can loop really, really well, especially after Ruler Scotty came out. And also, unfortunately, Huyan is also on Raid Up right now, and Huyan, as I think a lot of people are finding out, is really, really good. I don't know if she's quite like dummy broke, and I don't know if she's in that tier, but she is extremely good, right? Like, that is not up for debate. Like, she's definitely like an A+ servant. Just kind of depends if you want to argue that she's actually S tier, right? And so it maybe makes it a little bit more, I don't know, debatable if you should go for Jacques de Molay, because they both have really good things about them. For instance, you know, Huyan only has like a 30% battery, but Jacques, between her first and second skill, or no, it is her second skill, yeah, her first and second skill has a 50% battery, because this gives her 30% and this gives 20% to the entire party. You could say that, like, well, Huyan over here does more damage than Jacques does, but then again, Jacques could do more damage if she's, you know, got the enemy curse, which is pretty much free for her to do on her, wait, which skill is it? No, it's her NP. There it is. On her NP, she applies curse to them. Sorry, I'm just all over the place today. But, you know, she can apply curse to people, and you might say, well, that's more free because she could do it to anybody, as opposed to Huyan having to fight evil alignment enemies, right? But then again, if Huyan is fighting an evil alignment person, she does more damage than Jacques does with curse. Then again, I believe they both build up as well, because she builds up NP damage on her overcharge, and Huyan, I believe, no, she does not build that up. Never mind. Disregard what I just said. But Jacques does build up, so that's another thing you could give to her, right? And say that, like, well, she builds up every time she fires her NPs. You know, she can curse them every single time, get the special damage mod, you know, start building up NP damage. That's going to be 60% by the third time she fires her NP. So it can make things a little bit more debatable. You might say that, like, Jacques is a foreigner, so you could use her against anybody type neutral. But then again, you could say the same thing about Huyan. Like, she could pretty much fight anybody type neutral as well, aside from casters, and, you know, just break out somebody else to fight the casters if it's really that big of a deal. So I don't know. Like, I think she's a really, really good servant. I just think it's really unfortunate that she came out at the time that she did, right after Rikyu, and while Huyan is also currently on Raid Up. So it's kind of up to you and your discretion. Maybe you do prefer Jacques de Molay. Like, you know, maybe you do prefer her ability to smack anybody with curse and have free special damage mod against them. Maybe the battery is more important to you than, you know, Huyan being able to like stun the entire enemy party and stuff along those lines. So that's going to be kind of up to your own box and your discrepancy, right? It's like, what do you value more? Do you think you're going to be fighting more evil people? Then Huyan's going to be your lady, because then she's going to do more damage than Jacques is. But if you're going to be using Jacques, you know, for 3-turn farming, and you're going to be using her for boss fights and stuff along those lines, where she's going to get the opportunity to fire her NP numerous times, then maybe you want to go for her, because that 50% battery plus building up NP damage every single time she fires her NP is going to be really, really valuable. So that one I'm just going to leave up to you guys. It's more or less going to come down to your box. You know, you can always ask me on stream, or you can ask somebody in the Discord, which is also in the description down below. If you're like, this is my box on JP, who should I be going for, right? And you can always get a second opinion or something. The next limited servant that is on right up is Sei, and I have it already opened up to her NP because this is pretty much the main reason to go for Sei. Because Sei has 50 billion different special damage mods, and they're all pretty good. I mean, neutral, man, and shadow servant. These are all going to be pretty generally applicable. They're big, nice swaths of servants. I mean, I can open this up and show you, but anytime someone gets one of these like trait-based things like these, they're usually pretty good. Now, you might be able to say, well, Sei is, you know, an archer, so you can't bring her to fight like in Kido or whatever. Or like maybe you only want to bring her to fight sabers specifically, or some of the berserkers. But don't forget that like the damage mod is good enough that, I don't know, if there's some random Robin Hood fight that we get in the future, you can bring Sei to that and she'll do good damage against him, right? And also keep in mind that this just makes her generally good for farming, because if you're, say, farming a Saber node and Sigurd is the last person on there, she'll get that extra bit of damage to actually take out Sigurd for like wave 3 farming, which usually always has a servant at the end, right? Pretty much like 99.9% of the time. Right, it's very rare for like the end node of like anything to not have like a servant there present. So just keep that in mind. It gives her enough damage. It does allow her to like really hit pretty hard. And then also don't forget about Man. Like that's just neutral. Man is also really good. You get this just absolute swath of servants. It also makes her an Okita killer, which I don't like, because, you know, I love my girl Okita, but not only is Okita a man, but she's also got neutral. Where'd she go? There she is. Yeah, look at her. She's gonna get absolutely obliterated by Sei over here. So keep that in mind as well. Like if you could find people that are like both man and neutral, they're pretty much going to get flattened by Sei. And I also wouldn't discredit the shadow servant thing. If you're still doing free quest farming, which is kind of making a resurgence with the new advanced quest, you know, with the advanced quest giving us really good CEs to help us farm and give us better drop rates. If you're going to be doing that, Sei is also really good for that, because I believe every free quest just has a shadow servant at the end. I believe that's all of them. Don't quote me on that one, but I'm like 90% sure that every single free quest has a shadow servant as the last wave, right? So that makes her really good for free quest farming. And even if there's like 3 stages that don't have a shadow servant that maybe I'm forgetting about, maybe I don't remember, like there's one mountain in Babylonia or something, you know, she's still going to be good against like 99% of all of the other free quests, right? That's basically the point that I'm trying to make. And so it's going to make her really, really good and very useful for that. But definitely only really matters if you're the type of guy that's going to farm free quests in the first place. So I'd say. And then finally there's Murasaki, who is like the last limited servant. Not a whole lot for me to actually really say about Murasaki. I mean, Murasaki's not bad. I don't want anybody to think that I'm calling her bad. It's just that, like, again, we just got like really big arts, you know, kind of like the renaissance of art servants with Eris and Ibuki and Lady Avalon. And it's like, yes, you can use Murasaki for farming, and like she's pretty decent into challenge quests and such. But I don't know, it's just out of like, I guess the 3 limited servants, I guess she has like the worst argument for you to go for, aside from just, you know, liking Raida's work. And if you don't know what that means, Raida is the guy that draws like Raiko, Shuten, and also Murasaki, right? I encourage you to go check out his art book. His recent art book that he dropped is pretty fire. But unless you're like just a huge fan of Raida servants, I think if you're gonna summon, you either keep trying to get Huyan, which apparently everybody's just having really bad luck getting this servant, or you try to go for Jacques de Molay, right? Because Jacques de Molay, I mean, you also got like Yanqing and Qin Liangyu over here, and they also just recently got buffed, so maybe that gives you some incentive to go do their like rank up quests. Other than that, you know, maybe you can still go for this one, because Huang Fei, who's not bad, he's still pretty good, but it's like, I don't know, you can maybe boil it down that way. You could be like, well, I really like the buff they gave to Yan Qing, so instead of going for like these two, I'm gonna go for like these two or something like that, right? So I don't know, but I think by the time this video goes up, they're already going to be off. So I don't even know if that's a legitimate point. But anyways, yeah, just informing you guys, giving you guys a little bit of information here on what's coming on JP right now. And I know it's a little bit late, but again, we had Lost Belt 7 leaks, and that was absolutely nutty. Your boy definitely had to cover that. But with all that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here, and I will see you guys in tomorrow's video. Peace. Late, guys.